Yo, shut the fuck up, everybody in the chat. Listen, this is stop hating on me. This is my opinion. This is my video. So exclamation point podcast in the chat. I dropped a new podcast. The Avengers game. I gotta download the beta. Someone said Black Clover. All right, so exclamation point podcast. I dropped a new podcast. On that episode, I talked about my top 10 Xbox One exclusives that define this generation. Because on the GI podcast, we talked about our top 5 games that define the generation as a whole for any platform. So then I thought maybe I would get more specific and I would do like a top 10 games that define the generation for the Xbox One exclusives. People seem to really enjoy that on the podcast. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about it on the stream. The top 10 PS4 exclusives that are my favorites, in my opinion, at least. So keep in mind, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my word is not law. Please do not get butthurt. You guys are already butthurt because I don't want to play that stupid ass fucking Among Us game. All I'm saying is these were my favorite PS4 exclusives. That's it. It took me a second to come up with this list, but I did my research. You said we're entitled to our own opinions. You're not wrong. Just don't get butthurt about this shit. All right, so number 10. Strong black woman. Let me stop. Number 10, I went with Detroit Become Human. This actually was a really fun game to stream. This is not something that I would normally play because basically this is, let me turn these notifications off. Hold on 1 second. I appreciate everybody subbing and donating. What's the name? This is not a game that I normally would play because I don't really, I mean, you know, Telltale games are all right. But I've never played one of these games before. I think they made also Until Dawn and some other shit. But like people recommended I try it, and I was like, whatever. It looked interesting. Plus, it starred a black man, and I gotta support stuff that has black characters in it. I would not play this game a second time, but it was a fun ride that when I played through it. And it was cool to see how your decisions affected the story. And it was also cool to watch other people. This is one of those games where it was really cool to watch other people play on stream and see how their story was different based off of their decisions. My only critique with this game is basically if you remove the fact that these people were androids in the game, this is basically the story of black people in America. So once again, our story is being stole and used for profit, but you know, whatever. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I got to destroy all the humans and the androids and shit. I wouldn't play through this game again, but I did enjoy it for what it is. I think this is a game that it deserved to be on the list. It deserved to be on the list. All right. That was my number 10 though. That was my number 10. All right, what we got for the next one? Hold up, y'all. Let me bring up my shit. Stream notifications got you dying. Bet. It was a one-time kind of thing for me. I agree. Yeah, it was a one-time experience, but it was worth playing in my opinion. All right, so number 9, this might come as a surprise to you. Number 9, it creeped into my list. It goes to Uncharted 4. I didn't play the story because I honestly, I don't give a fuck about Nathan Drake. Like, listen, if I want to play the story, I'll watch Indiana Jones, okay? There's like 6 Indiana Jones movies. I don't give a fuck about Nathan Drake and his story. It's not interesting to me. I don't care that this nigga's collecting treasure and this nigga, I can get treasure at the bottom of the cereal box. So why the fuck would I play the story? I don't give a fuck about this shit. But I'd still put this on the list. I still gave it a 9 spot because I did enjoy the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer in Uncharted 4, as well as the Uncharted series period, is actually very underrated. The shooting felt good. The movement, like swinging around, like that right there, when that shit was fire, when you could swing around and punch niggas in the face. So like the movement was actually very underrated. The shooting mechanics were really solid. It was fun to play with the squad. I remember we played this for like a good, probably like 2-3 months. And this is solely based off the strength of the multiplayer. And y'all know I love third-person shooters. Couldn't give a fuck less about the single player. Maybe if I enjoyed the single player, it would be at a higher spot for me. But for me, I couldn't put it higher than a 9. Because I mainly played it for the multiplayer. I think Uncharted multiplayer is underrated. Uncharted's movement system is on par with Assassin's Creed, in your opinion? I don't know about that. Like, because you can't climb on everything like in this game. But it is very fluid. Like, I give, as much as I know people think I hate Uncharted, I don't think I don't think it's a bad game. I just think it's a little overrated the way people be hyping that shit up. In terms of single player, I enjoyed Tomb Raider better, but multiplayer, this has got it. That Tomb Raider multiplayer was fucking trash. So that would be my number 9 spot for PS4 exclusive. Shout out to D1 with the sub. Hold up, let me cancel that. Let's close that one out. All right. Number 8, you said very overrated, but just because, one thing I want people to understand is like, just because I think it's overrated doesn't mean it's a bad game. I just think people overvalue it. It's still a good game in my opinion. It's just like, all y'all do is play Call of Duty and Madden. So yeah, when you play Uncharted, it seems like the best thing ever. All right, so coming in for my number 8 spot, a lot of y'all probably forgot about this game, but I didn't, so I'm showing it love. Number 8 goes to, I believe this was a PS4 launch title. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. But Infamous Second Son. I believe it was either a launch title or it was a launch window title that came out the same year. It said it was. Yeah, Infamous Second Son. This shit was so fire that this shit came out back in 2014 and it still left an impression on me. I think that speaks volumes to how good the game actually was. Till this day, in my opinion, this shit came out in 2014. This is still one of the best PS4 games, and this shit was a launch title. This shit was a launch title. The particle effects when like you would like run around and do those little teleportation moves, the movement system when you would jump around the city and stuff like that. That shit was fire to the point where I actually think, because this is Sucker Punch, right? It made me think, I'm like, how is the movement system so fire in this, but then it wasn't in Ghost of Tsushima? That's why I was like, I had to knock a point down in the GI review for Ghost of Tsushima, because I was like, Sucker Punch has made games where the movement system was really good. It was really fluid. The DLC, I don't buy DLC, y'all. Y'all know I do not buy DLC, but that DLC where you got to play as the girl, what was her name? Fetch, with the purple hair. I bought that. I enjoyed that too. The boss fights were good. Getting around the city. Y'all know I love to jump around and blow shit up. And that, I still remember to this day the first time that I did that ability where he did his ult. Hold on, let me just replay this shit. His ult where he would go up into the air and then he would like, he would smile and then he'd come back down and then he'd nuke the whole fucking city. That shit was fire. That shit was fire. So I think it's important that we show Sucker Punch some love, because if you haven't played this game, it's one of the best games on the PS4. Infamous Second Son. Oh yeah, and Delson was a real one. Delson was definitely a real one. So I'm gonna give that my number 8 slot. Bet. All right, so number 7. Y'all not okay? Number 7, hear me out. This is gonna be probably the most surprising one on the list. This is gonna be a dark horse. My number 7 favorite PS4 exclusive, Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. I enjoyed this game so much that it turned me into a Fist of the North Star fan. I've actually never seen Fist of the North Star. I knew about the anime, but like this shit, the combat was fire. Fucking the boss fights, some of the boss fights. First of all, yo, shut the fuck up, everybody in the chat. Listen, this is, stop hating on me. This is my opinion. This is my video. Just hear me out. God damn, I brought up the damn title. You niggas is hating. Hear me out. Let me get my fucking opinion off. Damn. Fucking this nigga was punching through niggas' bodies and shit, blowing people's heads up. The boss fights was fire. These streams, y'all don't remember these streams? These streams was fire when I played this shit. Fucking, this is an exclusive. When I looked it up, I didn't see it on any other platform. I'm pretty sure it's an exclusive to the PS4. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is an exclusive to the PS4. I get it. It's made by the same people who play Yakuza. I ain't played Yakuza. I played Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. This shit was fire. Ken was coming through with the smoke. He didn't care. That's right. This is my video. No, it's not Dynasty Warriors, because this game has combos in it. It has like special abilities and stuff like that. So no. It's not like that. The characters were interesting. The boss fights were great. The cutscenes were funny. It's got like that anime style. I actually remember this boss fight where dude was fucking teleporting all around and shooting me. I'm different. This is what I like. I told y'all, and this shit is a shonen. You pull up and you beat. If you want a game where you pull up and beat a nigga's ass, this is the game to play. My opinion is not forever invalid. Yo, I'm getting off of this shit because y'all disrespecting my opinion. I don't care. I like Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. Fuck all y'all. How about that? Y'all ignorant. Y'all ain't even played this shit. Y'all broke. Now drop 5 stars in the chat. All right. Fine, let's go. Let's move on to number 6. Among Us was better? Get out of here. Let's move on to number 6. Here's a less controversial opinion. I'm sure you guys will like this one. Hold on, let me get the video going. Number 6 goes to Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, hear me out. I know it's not an exclusive anymore. It just came to PC like last week. But in my opinion, I think it's fair to call this a PS4 exclusive because it remained exclusive throughout the majority of the PS4's life cycle. It literally just came to PC. So I think it's fair. And in my opinion, when I look at this game, I look at it as a PS4 game. So I think it's fair to put it on the list. I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't think Aloy as a main character was particularly interesting, but what made this game so good was the fact that the world was so interesting. The graphics were so good. The support characters and the combat was so good. Basically, yo, Horizon Zero Dawn is the Black Clover of PS4 exclusives. And what I mean by that is a lot of people won't watch Black Clover because they don't like Asta. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of Asta either because he just screams. But what I like about Black Clover is all the supporting characters in the world. They're so strong. And in this game, my opinion, the supporting characters in the world and the combat is so strong, it carries Aloy through the game. And I think that's what made it dope. It was fun to fight a big ass Liger Zero. It was fun to fight a big ass robot alligator. I thought that shit was dope. All the different abilities that she gets. Climbing, I remember climbing the giraffe. That shit was fire. When it was like moving around, you had to catch them when they were moving around. Yo, they're kind of dancing to the beat. That's kind of funny. Yeah, Aloy is but the world and everything inside was pretty good. See, I think that's a fair opinion. Like the supporting cast is so strong. I think it's fair to say this is one of the best PS4 exclusives, and I am excited for Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I just hope it comes to PC day one. Yeah, you got to fight a Liger Zero and you saw that big ass white tiger and the shit, and that shit was fun because they were mad aggressive. And she had a bow and arrow. And oh yeah, and this is one of the best looking games on the PS4 too. Like this is one of those games like on PS4 I was like, yo, this looks like a PC game. You said this whole trailer in sync with the music. Yeah, shout out to Ass Move with the playlist. If you want the playlist, it's called Twitch Instrumentals. It's available on the FAQ, !FAQ in the chat. So we showing love to Horizon Zero Dawn. It just came out on PC if you want to play it, although I heard that shit is trash on PC. All right, we getting into the top 5. Yes, sir. We getting into the top 5. Here we go. Number 5. Stick with me. This might be a controversial pick because it's kind of new, but I had to do what I had to do. We going back to Sucker Punch, y'all. Ghost of Tsushima gets the 5 spot for me. I know this is a new game. I know it's new, but I don't care. This shit was fire. Actually, you know what? I think it's time to have a conversation. Is Sucker Punch one of the GOATs? Sucker Punch holds my number 8 slot and it holds my number 5 slot on the list. Is Sucker Punch one of the GOAT studios? Is it time to put it on the Hokage mountain, the Mount Rushmore? It holds 2 slots on my top 10. That's crazy when you think about it. They dropped 2 classics in the PS4 era. Ghost of Tsushima is a classic. It has its problems. It's a little buggy. The AI is a little glitchy, but fucking the combat's fire. The story was fire. The skill tree, the fact that you get to choose between being a samurai or a ninja, that was fire. So that adds kind of like replayability if you want it. First ballot Hall of Fame, first ballot, and they got Sly Cooper. All the different outfits, the drip you could get in this game, that shit was fire. Easily one of the best looking games on the PS4 alongside Infamous Second Son. I did not like the wind blowing feature, but I did like the wind blowing the leaves and shit. That shit did look nice. The island of Tsushima was gorgeous. It was fun to explore. A lot of times open world games these days get on my nerves because like the world is just not interesting to explore. But one of the reasons I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey is because that game was legitimately beautiful and it was fun to explore. The island of Tsushima was another example. It was so many different climates and environments in it. I enjoyed exploring it with my horse, Meg the Stallion. Like I said, I enjoyed the combat. Final boss fight was great. It was a good time. I had a good time, so I had to put it in my top 5, but I couldn't put it higher than 5 because the AI issues and the glitches. But this shit was dope. I enjoyed it for what it is, so I'm gonna give Sucker Punch some love. That's my number 5. My number 5, yes sir. All right, we moving into number 4. Y'all not ready for this. Y'all not ready for this. Hold on, let me drop this one. So number 4, we're gonna go with motherfucking Peter Parker. Number 4 slot goes to Penis Parker. No, we're not talking about Knack. Shut the We're not talking about Knack, we're talking about Penis Parker. Fucking so my number 4 slot goes to Marvel's Spider-Man. Easily the best Spider-Man game, period. I don't care what nobody says. Oh, but what about Spider-Man 2? Fuck Spider-Man 2. Marvel Spider-Man for the PS4 is a classic, in my opinion, for the PS4. The drip. Let's talk about the drip. We didn't even get to the combat and the graphics and shit. There were so many different outfits in this game. And you know I love that customization. That final fight scene where you had to take on the Sinister Six, fucking, if I spoiled it, fuck you, oh well. But that final fight where you had to take on like the Sinister Six and then you had to fight fucking like Doc Ock on the building, that final boss fight, that is still one of the most gorgeous, fuck any platform, PC, console, Switch, Xbox don't got no games, but like that final fight where you had to fight dude on the side of the building, that shit was fucking gorgeous of any platform. And then they put Miles Morales in it. I didn't particularly enjoy a lot of his moments because it was like stealth shit, but we gonna get to turn up and play as him in the next game. So they implemented this whole Marvel kind of Spider-Man universe. The combat was fire. It was fluid. It played like Batman, but he had his own flair in it. Fucking Puddlegate. This game was so influential. Never forget about Puddlegate. Puddlegate was when people were so excited about this game. They were upset that the puddles weren't gonna have reflections in it. That's influence right there. It was stupid. It was fucking stupid. But Puddlegate inspired the world. But man, and the story was fire. Let's not forget that. The story was fire. I enjoyed the story in this game. And this was like a totally original story. Who made this game? Who made Marvel Spider-Man? I forgot. Who was this made by? What studio, chat? Insomniac. We gotta give Insomniac love. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. I forgot Insomniac made this shit. You know why? Because my number 4 game is also made by Insomniac. Ratchet and Clank. Is Insomniac another GOAT? They're holding my 3 and my 4 spot. Let's talk about it. Hold up. That was a good transition. That was a good I'm really the GOAT at this shit, bruh. So my number 4 slot is going to my number 3, my bad, I can't count. My number 3 slot. My number 3 slot is going to Ratchet and Clank. I really enjoyed this remake, y'all. This is honestly, this is where it comes into like, yo, this is my opinion. This is a super biased opinion. I really enjoy goofy ass platformers. And in my opinion, Insomniac made the best one of this generation. The game it's funny. The game, it's very rare that a game makes me laugh. The game was fucking funny. The combat was fluid, all the different abilities. The different worlds. I'm so fucking tired of everything being realistic and just like sad and like Oscar bait, like The Last of Us. I'm tired of games like that. This game was really refreshing to play. If you have not played it, it was $40 when it came out, I believe, which I was surprised by. Look how gorgeous this game is. It was $40, so I'm pretty sure you can get it for 20 or less at this point. No, I didn't watch the movie. I heard it's trash. I'm just really tired of like Oscar bait games. So this game was actually really refreshing to play. Insomniac has some classics: Spider-Man, Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, Sunset Overdrive. Insomniac might be one of the GOATs too. We have to have a conversation. Yeah, just photorealism shit. This just took me back to my childhood, where I could just jump around, blow shit up, enjoy a goofy story, talk to the chat, and have a good time. Because at the end of the day, like, this game kind of reminds me, like, when I be telling people I'm a gameplay type of person, like, I just want to have a good time. I don't want to be all fucking serious and sad. Life is serious and sad. The Last of Us is fucking depressing. That shit's depressing. I don't want to be depressed when I play games. I play games to have a good time, and I miss colorful games like this. So I'm excited for the sequel that they're working on. So I gotta show love to Ratchet and Clank and their remake. I think this was dope, and I put it at my number 3 spot. If you have not played this game, definitely check it out. All right, we moving to number 2. This might be another controversial pick. This might not be. Hold on, yeah. Let's see. So, man, this stream is funny. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, bro. So my number 2 spot. This might come as a surprise. Let's talk about it. We're going with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yo, shut the fuck up. The Last of Us 2 did not make this list. Just get that out of your mind. My number 2 spot is going to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is one of those games I was thoroughly surprised by. Y'all know I'm a Final Fantasy hater. All right. I'm not a Final Fantasy hater, but I put Final Fantasy in the same realm as Uncharted. It's just overrated. There's like a million different Final Fantasy games, and I think most of them are not good, but this one was actually really good. Visually, it's one of the best looking games of this generation, regardless of any platform. The camera did get on my nerves. That was my only knock. But once I adjusted to it, the boss fights were fire. The combat was fire once you got the flow of it. Being able to combine all your different abilities and like being able to like just make big ass explosions on camera and shit, that shit was fucking fire. I actually really enjoyed the story. I never played Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I played it at a friend's house, but like, you know, when you go to a friend's house and you play it as a kid, you don't really get a gist of it. So this is like really my first time playing Final Fantasy VII. And then you guys in the chat explained to me that this is not even actually the original story. They changed things about it. I thought that was really dope. So it actually was a true remake, and I actually I look forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I look forward to it. I hope they don't break it down into a bunch of different parts. It was funny too. There was a couple funny moments. The game was just great. The game was great, a pleasant surprise, and that's why I'm giving it my number 2 spot. Let's go. NBA 2K20 is gonna be number 1. Shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up. Number 2, Jack and Dexter Lost Frontier, number 1. Yeah, all right, y'all. So shout out to Final Fantasy VII. Y'all are ridiculous in the chat. So number 1, what's my number 1 PS4 exclusive? If you listen to the GI podcast, you could probably guess what it is. I see some people in the chat getting it right. Hold up, let me loop this shit. Number 1 goes to God of War. That was my favorite PS4 exclusive. Samurai Zero. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I mean, if you listen to the GI podcast, you would have probably known this answer, because during the GI podcast, we talked about our top 5 games that define the generation, regardless of any platform. And I think the only PS4 exclusive I put on my list was God of War. So I think it's obvious that that would be my number 1 PS4 exclusive. The game's gorgeous. The combat was fire. I like how it didn't feel like a straight button masher, and there was a certain level of strategy to the combat. And you could get your ass beaten this. The abilities were fire. The ending to this game, I'm like, ooh, it's hard. Like, most endings in games suck, but I was like, oh shit, because most of the time you can predict what's gonna happen at the end of the game. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect that ending. That shit was a plot twist at the end. I was like, oh shit, I was like, I cannot wait for the fucking God of War 2, bruh. Like, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but if you have not played this game, the story in this shit was fucking fire. It was a pleasant surprise, and it's like, I'm like getting goosebumps even talking about that shit. I was like, I cannot wait to see where they go with the sequel. Not to mention, this is the only game on the list that was dropping gems, bro. You witness Kratos go from being like a savage to becoming like a better father figure, and like those moments where you were traveling around the world and you were just running, or you was on the boat and he was dropping gems, just teaching his son what it meant to be a man. That shit was fire, low-key. That shit was fire. That nigga Kratos said, he told his son, yo, you should mind your business. That was one of the greatest life lessons Kratos ever said in that game, bruh. The lore and the side characters were just, yeah, it was just mwah, mwah. And then wasn't there a moment where Thor pulled up, I believe, like in his dreams too, bruh? Oh my god, dog, this shit was fire. This shit was fire. And no loading. It was no loading screens in this game. I didn't even peep. No loading screens. So it was a technological achievement. The game was optimized. I do remember that when I played it on the PS4. You said that's a spoiler? My bad. Oh well. That shit was fucking fire, and that's why this is my number one PS4 exclusive. Couple honorable mentions before we wrap this one up. Two honorable mentions. My first one goes to Persona 5. I did not play this game. Shut the fuck up. The reason I put it as an honorable mention is, although I did not play it, Persona 5's OST, its soundtrack is so fire, I had to put it as an honorable mention. I didn't even play this game and the soundtrack's fire, so I had to put that as an honorable mention. And then honorable mention number 2 is Bloodborne, because if I don't bring that up, I know you guys wouldn't shut the fuck up. I don't care about that game, but I just did that so motherfuckers don't type in like, he didn't play Bloodborne. There you go. I said Bloodborne as an honorable mention. I just blew my computer up. Kingdom Hearts 3. You want to get uninstalled, boss? But yeah, Persona 5's its OST was so fire, I had to fucking put it on the list. But fuck Bloodborne. Anyways, that was my top 10 PS4 exclusives of this generation. I'm excited about the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. What games does it have? Halo Infinite just got delayed. What games does it have? If you're unaware, the reason I did this video is because on my latest podcast, I did my top 10 Xbox exclusives of the generation. So go listen to the podcast. It dropped last night.